My name is Mary Kay Rohanna. I am from Waynesburg. Today is June 20th, 2005, and I am speaking with Gert Geisler. And she was a housewife, a volunteer, and a mother during World War II. And Gert,
Yes.
Let's begin with, can you tell me where you were born?
Breckenridge, Pennsylvania.
And during World War II, how old were you?
How old?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see, I was born in 1940.
Okay.
I was in the 30s.
In your 30s. And where were you?
Well, when the war broke out, we were in Royal Oak, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit.
Okay.
We had gone up there, changed of jobs for him, and landed up there right before the war started.
Okay. And your husband being in the service?
No.
No. Now, your involvement in World War II, I see it says you were a volunteer.
I was a volunteer. We did Red Cross stuff, packed boxes and just in little groups, home groups where we could take our kids.
Mm-hmm.
They were organized under the Red Cross.
You took your children with you, you said?
Yeah.
And how many children?
Yeah, because, we didn't have daycare.
Uh-huh.
There was no daycare anywhere. You had to depend on neighbors. And, of course, we had moved up there in Detroit where we had nobody. The family was all back here in the Pittsburgh area. But we would take them and spend like a big part of a day knitting or packing boxes or whatever. Take the kids along.
How did the war impact your life?
Well, we never expected when we moved to Detroit that we'd be getting into a war situation. And Detroit during the war was a madhouse because they brought all these workers, factory workers and farmers and everybody that they could get for the automobile industry.
Oh, okay.
It was terrible because what they did, they tell me, during the war, they took the census before the war, based all their rationing things on that census, which meant that the population of Detroit was, I don't know how many times more. My husband was not in the Army, but after we got up there, he was with Gulf Oil because he was always into oil. He went into the government and started to work for Army Ordnance. So he was in a building in downtown Detroit that had practically all uniformed people, a big high building, and it was filled with service people. But of course he was not in uniform because he worked for the government, not for any of the services. Yeah, okay.
I tell you what.
You mean you hadn't heard of rationing?
No, I haven't.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't.
That was quite a thing during the war. We stood in line after line after line to get a loaf of bread. Here's some of it.
If you don't mind,
This is like the Red Cross, and we made these mufflers, among other things that we did. Rationing was a big deal for several years. The Red Cross had these groups, and we met in homes, and we'd make things under their direction because they wanted everything done just the way they wanted them done, for the Red Cross, and then we'd pack other boxes of food and stuff. We had to estimate how much sugar and stuff like that we were going to use, and because I was canning a lot, I don't know how this happened to be saved, but it was. Some coupons were canceled, they did all kinds of things. Basically, these are the most popular canned goods and how many coupons it took to buy one can. Like 17 coupons to buy a can of tomato juice. This, of course, is later. This is Roosevelt. And this is segregation. This was a place up in Detroit where you had to show a pass that the owner gave you because he didn't want any Negroes or Jews. We belonged to a country club, and never before or since, but country clubs didn't have enough of people here. You know, the men were all gone, so they didn't have enough of people to keep the thing going. So they offered very inexpensive passes to people. They'd sell them like for a dance club or a golf club or something. You could buy one for maybe, I can't remember, maybe $100 or less to belong to the country club, just to keep it, enough to keep it going.